All right. We've been in Hebrews chapter 6. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. We've been in Hebrews chapter 6, kind of in the middle part there. Hebrews 6:10. For God is not unjust to forgive your works and your labor of love, which you have made known in his name. For you have ministered to the saints and still do minister. We desire that every one of you show the same diligence toward the fulfillment of your hope, even to the end, and that you not be slothful, but be followers of those who through the faith and patience have become heirs of the promise. So the homework was to, as we live our life for the week and just all interactions with everybody, and just how are we demonstrating our Father's love to people, and how did we see any of that love coming back to us? Did we see that our Father's love through other people? So that was the homework. Did anybody come up with anything? Well, I'm going to call on you, Kelly. You're moving, though. You're always walking when I call on you. There you are.
I had to go get my Bible.
So,
last
about
week
with your kids?
What's that?
Oh, good.
We were talking about how we're showing love to other people, right? And so you want us to tell about how that love is coming back to us?
Yes. Did you see our Father's love coming back to us as we're loving other people? Did you see like any reflections of that? Or did you see any instances of our Father's love just in the week?
Yeah, well, I work with kids a lot, and I don't know. It's been a rough week. I told you the kids are from really bad backgrounds, so getting toward the end of the school year, they're getting pretty wild, but I'm trying to think of something. Yeah, I think I'll have to pass right now. Maybe Anson has something.
That's fine. Thanks, Kelly. Go ahead, Anson.
Yeah, and since our name label is Joshua, probably we'll call Joshua first because he has something to share.
Excellent.
So, yesterday we were out for the day. We went out of town and we were supposed to get together with my mom's two uncles and aunts, and before that we did some grocery shopping. And then we were leaving the grocery store, and my mom was carrying 2 bags, and I offered to help her carry one, and when I tried to carry it, it was too heavy, and then I tripped and I scraped my elbow, like right here. Sorry, it's not good manners to show your scabs, but anyway, there was this man passing by, and he offered to get a Band-Aid, a first aid kit. So we waited for him, and then he gave us wipes and a humongous Band-Aid which covered the whole cut. And my mom says, "Oh, that's it. You can share that with the Zoom meeting tomorrow because the homework is to look for Yahuwah's love reflecting on you." Yeah.
Excellent, Joshua. Excellent. Thank you for sharing. I see you got a new shirt, Las Vegas.
Oh yeah, that came from my uncle. My great uncle.
What, my turn?
Yes.
No, this is a last minute thought that I had. Yeah, maybe I I saw Father's love as usual with my wife because I just remember that these past maybe a couple of days, like there were many times instances that she would rebuke me in my naughtiness and childishness because in my mind I'm still childish most of the time.
No,
And-
not most of the time.
and there are times that I kind of take offense with her rebuke, and then it just occurred to me that it's actually love. Like I'm just like a child being disciplined by the parent, which brings me to another incident, that of with Nathan, because these like the other day he had his project, the one Joshua is swinging around. That's a stair
Part of
part of a
stair project.
staircase project, and he got 100 in that.
And it was imperfect.
It
Like
It was not perfect
like,
as
like,
Uncle Ty.
I could
Had-
spot like so many flaws, but I think he saw how much I worked on it.
Yeah,
And
attitude
so-
and excellence. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Going back to the project, I asked Nathan.
Oh, tell him about. So he got 100.
Yeah, and I was asking Nathan before why, what took you? Because not only is he 100, like I think he finished. He finished the
Early.
project early, very early. Yeah, and I asked him what made it easy for you. How come you're ahead? And he told me, oh, it's because it's mostly math. Math played a big
Measurements,
part because it's a
calculations.
lot of measurements and calculation, and he's kind of good at that now, right? And brought me back, what Kate told me, that it's because before, when he was still
When we were still homeschooling.
like they would literally fight,
And cry.
and
Lots
cry.
of tears, lots of
Yeah.
holdings,
Or
lots
like-
of
Or like
And
math
heartaches and
worksheets.
heartaches.
Nathan would even, come to hate his mom to that point,
Just because of math
Mhm.
worksheets.
because of math worksheets, And
He's good at math. That's the thing I don't understand, because he has a good head for math.
yeah, and now look at the fruit, So yeah, that's the reason you're reaping the fruits of your struggles and fights with them. So in a way, that's how I see it, right? It's a father's goodness flowing through my wife, and giving him the patience, endurance to do things. Yeah, so that's a last minute thought. It's kind of connected with me,
Yes.
because that's because of my reaction. I'm saying this because of my reaction,
And also, like, for me, that the affirmation there of the homeschooling journey, how Father just called us to do this. And because if as a homeschooling mom you do it on a daily basis, and you don't really see any changes in your children because you look too closely. But so when Nathan said he got 100, and his teacher went up to him in private and told him that, what did he say?
It was
You know,
everything he expected in the staircase plus more.
Come over here.
Hmm.
And like in the 10 years,
In the 10 years.
He's never given anybody 100 in the 10 years he's been teaching.
so that is a big blessing. Like, that is, for me, like, big blessing that you are on the right track, So, hooray, homeschooling. Hooray, Abba. It's like, praise him.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah, that's right. Oh, and for me, like, the reflection, of Father's love, great love. I was just telling Anson this morning that getting together with my aunts and uncles, and I see how much
like it's like old times, being with them. It's like old times. You remember your childhood, you remember how it is, and it's like going back and seeing how they are still the same funny uncles, very, very nice, and the same likes and dislikes. They're the same, like foods, activities, but I feel um like I don't enjoy the same things anymore. I still enjoy them. I love them very much. They're very loving, they're very fun, they're very nice, aunts and uncles. But I was telling Anson how much I'm so different from my relatives, my family, from my mom, my siblings, my cousins, aunts and uncles, and they're still the same. Like, so for me, that is a great reflection of the Father's love, like how He has called me out, and I'm so glad I said yes. I don't know if they will find me as fun and funny if they really know who I am now. If I would show even half of what's it really in my heart. Yes, like what Carrie was sharing last week. Like you get to see them only sides of you that they already know, but hopefully they also see or sense some differences, some significant differences, not only in me but also in my husband and in our children, that they will sense, they will see something very different. So praise, thank you for letting us share.
Great job, Angst. Thank you for that. Was good. Hey, Michael and Tremaine. I see you're. Are you there? Is your mic working? I was going to say.
Mike,
Hello.
because it's Shabbat.
Hello.
Shabbat Shalom. Did you do your homework?
Shabbat Shalom. I did a lot of other homework.
Good.
Yeah, I'm sorry. We've been really, really, really swamped.
Well, do you remember what the assignment was, though? I'm sure you did it anyway.
Well, yeah. Refresh my memory, though. I know I did it because I remember thinking about it last Shabbat.
We were talking about our Father's love, how we were talking last week, how we might be demonstrating that. And I was looking how it might have been reflected back to you this week by those around you.
Well, you gave me a memory.
You just saw the.
You just spawned a memory in my mind about it. So we were at the.
Turn on your camera. Turn on your camera so we see your face.
We were at the supermarket yesterday, and we were looking at the produce at Whole Foods. We were getting some stuff to do some more juicing, and there was an little old lady there, and she was looking for something. I forget what she was looking for.
Hey, Michael, turn off your light. You have a halo. Didn't mean to interrupt. There, thank you.
So we were looking. She was looking for something, and I helped her find it. She was like, "Oh no, I can get it." So I went and found it for her. I said, "Here you go." "Oh, thank you." And then she said, "Now I just need dill." And she was talking to herself, but she was going that way, and the dill was over here. So I went and got her dill, and I brought it to her. And she, "Oh, well, this one's a little wilty." So I went and got her another one. And I brought that to her, and it was nice. And Tremaine was like, "She reminds me." I forget who'd you say she reminded you of, David? Tremaine?
Dr. Nimmer, but not
Her major professor, a little bit. So anyway, that was a good moment. And there was a couple other times during the week when I'd gone to the store and I saw like old ladies with big case of water under their cart, right? And I couldn't watch them pick it up, man. So I was just like, "Here, let me help you pick this water up." and I put it in their car for them. And I like doing that because I don't want to watch them pick up heavy stuff and struggle. And then I'll leave them with, "God bless you." "Oh, God bless you too," they'll say, or just that kind of stuff. I love doing that stuff. Yeah, did you have anything? Oh, maybe later.
They're having an issue.
Uh-huh.
Hey, thanks, Michael.
Yeah.
All right, Jeremiah, can I call on you?
Yeah, I reckon. Hallelujah. Well, last year I met a person that was homeless, and she was about 64 years old. And I asked Father Yah, I said, "Father, we got to help this young lady. She's a Gentile, but she's a Sunday teacher and God-fearing." And so 3 days later, after I put the word out, a friend called me and said, he found a trailer, and it was a 38-foot camper trailer, a fifth wheel. And I went over there to look at it and took some pictures and sent the pictures to this lady. And she was very happy with it, but the tires were wore out. They were dry rotted. It has 4 tires. They were dry rotted, and one of the 4 tires was off. So I kind of felt bad because I knew that the little camper, she was in an 8-foot or 6-foot little teardrop camper that someone lent her that was going to take it back. So, I kept telling her that, we're Israel and we walk this way, and you're welcome to stay at my place, but, I'll sleep in the living room and you'll sleep somewhere else. Well, it happened to be that the Gentile turned into a Messyanic, or Hebrew roots. He's studying now Torah. And I was never able to get that camper for her. She was staying with her mom, and because the tires were dry rotted and they were so expensive to get all 4 tires. So someone called the other day asking to buy it, and she didn't want to sell it, but where the trailer was, the owner called and said, "Look, that trailer has to leave this week. It's been a year. It's got to go. I got to put goats in there and stuff like that." So the same day everything was happening, had someone calling for the trailer, had the owner of the property saying move the trailer, and money came in the day prior. So we went out there and looked at the tires, and you will not believe that the tires were no longer dry rotted, and just put that old tire that she had on it and called a tow company. And the tow company towed it to her shop, and now she has 3 jobs, upholstery jobs, and the trailer there, and she's able to park it next to her shop and continue her walk in Torah and do her work. Hallelujah.
And you were part of all that, weren't you? You were part of the Father making all that happen.
Yeah, I helped her get the building. She had to empty out 3 storage buildings, so I had to carry all that stuff into that one building. Then I helped pay her rent for about 8 months. It was like $300 a month. And, praise y'all.
That's very practical, need filled. Aaron, Jeremiah.
And now she's planting seeds. Now she's planting seeds and turning people in the way of Torah. So, the ground was fertile, so I planted and Yah watered it. Amen.
Amen. A lot of different ways to garden.
Amen.
Thank you. Hey, Emily or Manna, is there anybody over there who wants to talk? I'm going to go ahead and call on you, Carrie.
I'll put my video on. Okay. Last week I didn't get a chance to share how ways of how I was able to show love to other people during the week, and I just kind of want to mention that because it's a precursor to this week's answer. I had mentioned to some of you last week that I had gotten, I had not gotten an invitation to my nephew's wedding, who is getting married today. And I had heard about it a while ago. I knew about it, but last week my mom had, like a whole week ago, my mom had come over and was informing me that, or verifying that I had not been invited, but that there was other people that were not invited as well. And I guess she was trying to soften the blow, but I was the only immediate family member not invited. So that was kind of hard. But so that week was really tough for me because I had a lot of emotional, it was very upsetting. And I had explained when my mom told me, I understood that it was likely because I didn't have much of a relationship with my nephew. He's 19 at this point. But a big part of the reason why I didn't have a relationship is because I was kind of cut out of his life for a couple of years when we first started keeping Sabbath set apart, and by not working on it. So I was wrestling with a lot of emotions and just trying to figure out how to, I was calm, and I had cried a little bit when my mom was telling me, and because it was upsetting, but I didn't say anything that I had to regret, or whatever. But all week I was trying to think of how am I going to approach, talk to my sister about it, because I was partly upset with my sister for not being the one to tell me to talk to me about it. I had to hear about it through my mother. I was like, what's up with that? And I had just talked to her a couple days before. So I was like, But anyway, over the course of the week, processing a lot of things and talking with Ty and praying about it and just whatnot, I had a chance to talk to my sister on Monday night. And I was able to let her know that I wasn't angry, because I think she thought I was angry, that I wasn't angry, but I was disappointed. But that I appreciated hearing that she at least made an effort to encourage him to invite me. And I did all that without crying. I did all of that without making any statements of condemnation or putting her on the spot or anything like that. And I talked to her husband was there, my brother-in-law, and I was asking them about. So I think by me, I didn't want to make the issue about me. I didn't want to steal the joy of my sister and brother-in-law's son getting married, upcoming, by adding drama of me being a wounded party. You know what I mean? So I kind of looked at how I handled the situation as being loving, even towards my sister and brother-in-law. Even though I may have felt like I felt wronged. But that's how I chose to handle it, and I feel like that was a demonstration of love. Now, coming this week, feeling the love of the Father coming back on me, I had, Ty had informed me that we had gotten an invite from a friend of ours, or not even a friend, more of an acquaintance, but a neighbor, somebody who lives a couple doors down from us. came over to invite my family and I to a big party that they were hosting down there tonight. And so they're having a big party, and they basically just said, come, they're going to have steak and salmon, both clean. And we just bring some, a dish or something to share with everybody. So yesterday, Lauren and I, we made, Lauren did it all actually. I helped shell the eggs, but we made eggs, deviled eggs, and coffee cake. Lauren made some coffee cake. So we're going over there to tonight. But I see this as an act of love towards me, coming back, because the biggest challenge that we've had in walking out this walk the last 8 years is a lack of fellowship, is having, our people turn their backs on us just because we were choosing to make personal choices in our life and make them be known. And because we talked about it on Facebook, and that really isolated us big time. And so now it's like starting to come back around. And then one more thing, we were at the library on Thursday, and we go pretty regularly, but the last, several months I hadn't gone with my kids. I just swing in and swing out. And there's a lady who generally we see that when we all went this week, she was there. She works there at the library. Her name's Bethany. Really sweet lady. And she's got a daughter who is about a year younger than my daughter, and a son who's about the same age as my youngest son. And my kids have never met her kids. But in past, I talked to my kids about, because they're lonely too. They don't have a lot of fellowship. We're not involved outside of our home with the community that much. So they're really lacking in local fellowship. And so I was like trying to encourage my daughter. I'm like, well, why don't you, you can meet this girl, and she likes to read, you like to read, but not really sure how to make that come about. Well, anyway, on Thursday, we were all checking out at the same time and talking, and I struck up a conversation with the lady with Bethany, asking her a question about electronics and her kids, if they were an electronic-free household where they don't have iPhones and stuff like that. And Ty thought that was a weird question for me to ask, but I don't know, I just felt prompted to ask that. And she kind of was like, well, we don't really let I don't really let my kids play video games and stuff. And I was like, yeah. And it was cool. And her son had just walked up at that time when we were talking. So her son got a chance to meet our sons, and it was a short visit, but it was enough to spark something there. And we found out that we don't live too far from each other. I mean, it's driving. You have to drive to get there. But we invited them to swing by the homestead stand, pick up a dozen eggs on us, don't worry about it. And after we left the library, my family, we were talking, and we're like, we should host something and invite them over, come see a movie, or come just hang out at the bar, hang out. So so I saw that as a neat expression of our Father's love towards us after a very long, dry period of fellowship or lack of fellowship, not just for me, but for my kids. And so I was happy about it. Okay, that was really long. I'm sorry, but ta-da!
Ty, I was reminded by some things that Kay's family had about homeschooling. I homeschooled both my girls all the way through high school, and we've always been involved in teaching children, and they've always kind of come along, and so my daughter Carrie and I were involved in teaching for a while, and I would always be telling the Bible story, and she would be working with the kids as well. And today she's at her Shabbat fellowship, and they have a group that meets like all together. All the kids are there, and they're large families. Some of them are kind of like Amish background down in Lancaster area. And anyway, they asked Carrie, because of some teaching thing that she had done, if she would sometime come and tell a Bible story just for the kids, but they would all be together in this group. So the adults are all there, but the children all come to the front, you know, and she tells this little story. So she has done it multiple times since then, and other people have taken turns as well. And today she's telling a story about it's from the Parsha or Ha-Torah or whatever it's called, about Jehoshaphat and Jehoram and the king of Edom going up against the king of Moab. And he, you know, when he sacrifices his firstborn son, the king of Moab, on the wall. And anyway, so she's been practicing the story all week and using puppets and telling me the story over and over again. And it's just very, as a mom, homeschooling mom, very rewarding to see her using her skills and talents. Like, she's going to be involved in a storytelling thing, co-storytelling with another man that she works with, coming up in a few weeks, and she's really excited about that, practicing, you know. And she said, I remember you, Mom, practicing those stories, you know, over and over again so you could tell the story. And so anyway, it's just very neat to see her using her talent. She's very good at it, and very, you know, the kids just love it. They hate it when she doesn't have a story, you know, to tell each week. And so it's just neat to see your kids growing up and doing well.
So she's kind of following after your image.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Well, her dad's really a good storyteller too. I mean, he's very good.
Yeah, Anthony, it was with the math thing with Nathan. I was like, you know, taking after your engineer dad. You were good at math, you hated it, but now you're like your father in ways. That's cool. For me personally, that with the neighbors stopping by, inviting us over, they've been there for many years. We barely had any interaction. And he just swung in the timing and everything. And it's like, I know enough. It's probably going to be fun over there. And I'm like, it's going to be more fun than if we would have went to the wedding, probably. So I'm happy that the timing of it. And yeah, he's not a believer, but I think he's just a nice human being. And it might be good to know my neighbor. And there's going to be kids over there. So, hey, at least they're right next door. So that's always an opportunity. So I was excited about that. That coming from someone that's not like in the house, but still, yeah, it's a blessing. And I definitely think it's Father's timing and all that. So,
how close is he, Ty? Like, what's next door?
Well, I can see his tree line from here. 300 yards, maybe.
Oh,
so
well, 300 yards to
pretty
his tree
close
line,
out here.
but then his house is probably a lot farther.
No, he's just right on the other side. So
yeah,
I would say it's like maybe a block and a half, 2 blocks, city blocks.
Yeah,
but that's close here. That's so. And I had a couple different instances of seeing my father's love, maybe not directly, but I had a little more understanding of my father, our father. I have boys, and I engage them in my work. I bring them out and make them work, and just seeing the way they respond to it. Having one that has the attitude of kind of skipping out, doing a minimal, taking a long break to go get a drink or go get a hat. Then I got another one that just, he comes out with an attitude and he does what I ask. He may not like it, but he does what I ask, and he just keeps his head down and stays after it. And it's like, you know, son, I'm really happy that you're doing that. I didn't say that. I was thinking this. It's for his own good. I know that the work is just work. It's not that fulfilling. It's menial, but it's like, I'm trying to make you tough. I'm trying to grow you up. I'm trying to teach you a work ethic. Even when it's hot and you're sweating and it's hard and I keep pushing you, that's for your own good. It's not because really I'm getting that much help out of them. It's more like I'm getting some help and I do need it, but the main thing is I'm just trying to teach them to work, and the one of them with the right attitude and one of them with not so great an attitude, it's like you're really hurting yourself. And I can see that in my own approach to our Father. I can have either one of those attitudes. When I'm going through the hardships, he loves me enough to make it hard on me, and he's going to push me, and it's going to make me stronger. And it may not seem like love at the time, but I'm saying this to play it out. I've seen this in Carrie, of the situation, a lot of pain with what's going on, and she's handling it very well. So I saw this Father's love kind of like molding her, making her stronger through this emotional turmoil. And I just see that it's not, it's maybe a different way of looking at the Father's love, but it's always for our good, always for our strengthening. Our trials and hardships, just because we're having a hard time doesn't always mean he's not with us. It's like some people say, oh, if the Father's with me, it's going to be a cakewalk. And I said, I don't think so, because we are where we are, and we need to get where we're going. And there's a lot of steps in between. And in order to, it's going to be tough. There's times without fellowship. Are you going to sell out? Are you going to go back to church or are you going to stick it out and be alone in the wilderness and watch your children suffer and not having friends? It's all for our good. It's just hard to see it sometimes. I don't like to see my family suffering, but I trust my Father. So I like it when my kids trust me and just do what I ask, even if they don't understand. Just do what I say. So that's my one take on the Father's love. And being out in the garden a lot this week, I wasn't out with a lot of people. So I saw our Father's love in a different way. His ways are good. He's given us the opportunity, and this is kind of a tangent, but work in the land. He's given us the privilege of taking all this thing that he made and giving us dominion and saying, here you go, son. Go out there and play in the dirt. Go out there and make yourself a little garden like me. Be like me. And I really am just seeing my Father's love and just that he's given us that. Given us the mandate. It's a powerful thing. I don't know if I can really explain it if you're not a gardener, but just having the rain and the plants and the seeds and the soil, the sun, and the fertility and the animals and all of this. It's like, wow, he really does love us, and he's got good stuff for us. And it's like, that's our birthright. You know, we're from the soil where our bodies are, not our spirit. But while we're here, this is our domain, our dominion. So I just appreciate the loving opportunity that he's given me. I'm in peace right now with the world. I don't have to fight for my life. We're not starving. And I can just go out and work as much as I want and be left alone. And knowing his ways are good, this is going to be good for my kids and my grandkids. And it's a kind of an indirect love, but it's definitely a loving thing. Our Father's given us this inheritance, this right to be here, and a right to imitate him in some way. So the floor is open now. That was just my take this week. Anybody want to add to that or just share anything? I mean,
I just want to say that it's not very different, really, whether you're homesteading. From what I'm seeing, whether you're homesteading or you still live in the city, if you're a believer, it's like there's a certain kind of isolation that you will have, and at first it might feel lonely at times, but I sense it to be a hedge of protection of the Father. It's his protection that he's isolating you, because you are not part of the world's family anymore. You are of his family. And so even being in the midst of people here in the city, my children don't have friends either. So it's like a common thing happening to father's children. And like I'm very thankful, when the you guys here shared that many times friendship is overrated, like having friends. It's overrated. That's one thing that, helps me to keep at it. Not worrying so much that my children don't have friends, they don't get too many play dates. We get it very sporadically. And usually it's during those times, like what Carrie said earlier, like, you're having a dry spell, and then all of a sudden, a little bit of rain here, just to help us to keep going on, for another day, So, yes, Father is so good. He knows perfectly when we really, really need it. Like if we really, really need fellowship with other people or just to be in touch, he will provide. And yeah, so
I like how this journey really encourages us to rely on our Father. It really does. And even though I remember in the beginning when we first started talking about the Sabbath day and wanting to do that ourselves and bringing the subject up with a couple of people at church and starting to feel that pull away, how people were like withdrawing from us, and they'd see me coming and they'd turn around and go the other way, and I was just like, what is going on? I'm walking into church with a Bible and the pastor turns and goes the other way. And it was very lonely, and at the time, and it was very heartbreaking at the time, but I wasn't alone because I had, it's just a book. I mean, I don't want to elevate the Bible into something more. It's what's inside the book. It's the life that's written on the pages, and the words that help us connect to our Maker and to have some understanding in life about what all of this is for and what we're for. And I felt very much, I felt closer to the Father than ever before because, that's what this journey, that's how it started for me. It was a choice. Do you want to go where I'm leading you, where the Spirit is leading you in your studies and what you're seeing in Scripture? Or do you want to just stay on the main road where everyone else is? Where I'm not saying that, I think the Father is still involved in the lives of the people that, we parted ways with. It's just, it's different. They're on a different path, and they're not going where I feel he was, leading me. I think it's awesome. It's a lot more intimate relationship with the Father, and it sounds weird and hearing me say it now, but it's not lonely. I appreciate the little refreshing showers every now and then, and when we really, really need it, he does provide. He does out of the blue, out of areas that we never anticipated, and we can clearly see that it's his hand that's doing it because it comes out of the blue. We're not the one that's making it happen, and so the glory goes to him, and it's an example to our kids that they are learning to trust in our Father, our Heavenly Father, and it's neat. And I think they are going to be stronger for it. I think that, like your kids, Kay and Kelly, have you mentioned, and even as the LeBlancs, their kids grow up and they start to experience what it's like to be not around the world as much as other kids might be, you're going to be a different breed, and it's a stronger breed. It's pretty cool.
I think the whole socialization thing is overrated, and People worry about, I know they're always telling me that your kids are going to be socially, whatever, malfunctioning if they don't spend lots of time with other kids. But the whole peer, like bunching up kids all in of same age in one classroom, so that the one they want to most be like is someone else their age, rather than seeing older kids or adults and wanting to emulate them, is a mistake that we have made, and that's what creates the bullying and the competition, in the grade levels. And I think kids who are homeschooled or interact a lot with people of different ages, both younger and older, are far more better adjusted, and when they're able to speak to adults and speak to and help little ones, this idea of keeping everyone in the same age together all the time is detrimental in many ways.
Thanks, Kelly. Go ahead, Jermaine. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom, everybody. I just wanted to share.
Are they leaving?
No, they're not leaving. You want to say Shabbat shalom?
Shabbat shalom.
Here.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
So me demonstrating or allowing the Father to work through me to show His love to others. So this past week I had a dream about my brother, that something was going on with him and he just felt really embarrassed or ashamed, so he didn't come and talk to me. So there were a couple other people who came and talked to me, and this was in a dream. So I ended up texting them. Now I don't really get to talk with my brother a whole lot. And so I texted him asking him if he was okay and if something was going on, and just like in general what my dream was about. And he actually immediately responded, and he said that he'd been feeling really down. And so we ended up having this conversation back and forth, and through text, because it was like in the wee hours of the morning. Like we were texting from probably about off and on 11 till about 3 in the morning. And so coming to find out, he's been thinking about his choices and the relationships in his life, and how the relationships that he has, he wants to have deeper relationships. And so he'd been contemplating moving. So that was one thing. And another thing was, the Father just kind of showing his love to me is, having twins and toddlers. It takes a lot out of me. and so we went to get some, went to the grocery store, and then we went to get some pizza at this place that does like pizza to order type thing, fire flame whatever they call it, brick oven pizzas. And so we were all sitting down, and I had one baby, Michael had the other baby, and then we had the toddlers, and we were at the table, and and people were coming in, and there was this lady. She came in, and she looked at me, and she looked at Michael, and she said, "Twins?" And we were like, "Yeah." And she was like, "They're not identical, are they?" And we said, "No." And she went on to say, 9 years later, that she had twins, and her twin boys were 9 years old. And she was just sharing with me how, it's like when she was sharing with me her experiences. She said one day she had one baby and she was so sleep deprived that the baby rolled down her lap, and she caught the baby just as the baby was like rolling off her lap. And she was sharing with me how sleep deprived she was. And I asked her, if she had any other children. And so she was a stay-at-home mom, and her husband, she said her husband, he worked a lot of hours. And she said, and they lived in an area where they didn't have any family or anybody around who could really help. So it was just kind of, on them. And so she was just, just kind of talking to me. And this is like probably the first time that I've been out of the house, or like, not beyond the driveway in like a while. And so she shared with me, she was like, it goes by fast and it does get easier. And she had her twins when she was 42 and a half. And I had the twins when I was 42, and she didn't have any other children. It was just the twins. And then at the end of our conversation, she said to me, she said, she said, God bless you. And then she said, he already has with the, with the twins. And she was like, so yeah.
Thank you, Tremaine. We just have a few minutes left in the hour. Anybody want to say anything? As we keep working through the Hebrews 6 here, we'll probably be wrapping it up next week. This call to mature love that the author is giving to his audience in the middle of Hebrews 6. That's why I asked about this love. Always, as we're living our lives this week, just look for ways to show how our Father's love works and look for it coming back at you. And if you get any good examples, I would love people to share it next week. But I'm going to try to wrap up Hebrews 6 next week, and we're going to start on 7. But this is a big thing. What does maturity look like if we're going to be in the household of the Son? What is this mature? What is the works that our Father's looking for? And it seems like it's ministering to each other. So I'll just ask, does anybody have anything they want to share that they need help with in their life right now? I've seen some. Jermaine was praying for Kay last week, and I definitely like to see us ministering to each other. We'll be our hands and feet of our Father and just helping each other here in this small group. So does anybody have anything they want to bring up?
Michael, when is your move?
May 25th.
Ooh, so you got like 2 weeks or something.
Yeah, a little more than 2 weeks, and we're going to be trucking it down the road.
So you got movers coming in?
Yes, ma'am. We have we hired a moving company to come in, and we're boxing things up slowly but surely. We're gonna have to kick that into gear here after today. And
they're not. So you're doing all your own packing?
We're doing the packing. They're doing the moving.
So we're doing the packing and the unpacking. They're just gonna come and get the furniture and the boxes and put it in the vehicle.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, you Tremaine.
She right now the way it's working is she's at home all day with all the kids.
Yes.
I'm at work. And so she's supposed to pack everything with the kids while I'm working, right? No.
Yeah, right.
So
what ends up happening is I probably go in spurts of what one night he had to take off from work one day because I'm struggling, because the boys they're up. Like I told you, I was on the phone texting my brother between like 10 and 3 because the boys were up off and on, wanting to eat, wanting to, just be cuddled. And yeah. so it's
We'll pray for you guys.
yes.
Quite the undertaking.
Yep. So that's what I'm working on, and
You're working right up till you leave, Michael?
May 25th is my last day at work.
Yeah, so you're not going to be able to help do the packing much.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking of. Well, I came home early the other day to help, and it helped a little bit. I got 2 of the big dressers out, so that made a dent. So we have places to put boxes now. But I think once we start getting the books off the shelves and stuff, it'll be a lot smoother and a lot quicker. But it's kind of tossing between. Well, do I get somebody to come help pack, and maybe that'd be a good thing. I don't know, but I've been praying about that, and I'll probably look next week and see if I find something like that, because it might be helpful once we get things organized where we can say, hey, do this, do that. But
just if they came in for one day and said, pack up all the books or pack up all the kitchen or whatever.
Yeah. Yep. So y'all pray for us on that so we can act. Oh, that's enough of that. Did he have all that?
He's trying to take his orange.
Oh, which is it?
Yeah, that's a physical need. That's a tough one, Michael.
Yeah, we've been also ministering to each other and as husband and wife, and trying to encourage each other. And we've come to a place now where we're ready to start juicing through the program again. And we've decided to I don't know if it's a forever thing or not, but we've decided to stop eating meat for a time. Because we realized how we felt, when we were doing the juice, and one of the, it's only one aspect of it, but one of the aspects is we didn't consume any meat. So we're going to give that a shot and see how we feel, and if we're able to be, more vibrant or energetic or whatever, because our idea is that we have little bitty babies, so we want to be around for their little bitty babies, and as many as we can. So we want to try to do things that encourage that life and that are conducive to the life we want to have. So I'm not saying meat is bad. I'm just saying that for us, we have noticed that, and I knew this years ago when I didn't eat meat. For us, some of the things that we've chosen to call good and to eat, they do take a toll, or they're harder for our bodies to digest, and they do take a toll on our whole system, and we're worn down and bogged down by it. And other things that we eat or drink or whatever, that we're like motivated and energetic from it. So we're trying to go with the latter, for at least for a time, to see, and we'll see how it works out. I was gonna get the orange. So, yay! And we had a call with the Angs the other day, and it was nice. We were on the chat for about an hour about the juicing stuff. That was kind of.
You actually got them to chat with you? Wow, that's that.
Yeah, I mean, they look just like they look now. They didn't look any different.
It's really amazing how they can minister to people,
On top of
to us, on top of everything. It's amazing. Praise Yah.
Yeah, and I want to point out what Michael said, that they want to keep themselves healthy for the children. I want to tie that up with the the topic about mature love, which Ty has been mentioning. I think that's the 2 points of a mature love. The one is loving others, and the second is loving yourself for others. Right. So you see that the end goals of both is for others and not for yourself. So I would put the description of mature love as something like that.
Carrie, it's been about an hour. So did you want to take a pause and then you start?
Yeah, we can go ahead and end the recording, take a little bit of a break, and then we can start back up again on it separately.
All right. Well, Shabbat Shalom. So we'll work on the end of Hebrews chapter 7 next week, pertaining to the promises. And then we'll start with Yeshua as the high priest. Good stuff. So Shabbat Shalom. Thanks, guys.